Check.
Go
Say
Go
words.
Team. Checkity check. Booby boobs. Breasts.
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 Is this thing on? Breasts.
Breasts. Keep talking. Say more.
This is boobs.
Breasts.
And big boobs. Breasts.
All right. Okay. This shows what a serious show this is gonna be. Oh.
Does this thing work? Breasts.
See, I'm already we haven't even started it. I'm already sweating from all the setup and shit.
Yeah. You're just a sweaty fella.
I am a sweaty fellow, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got that
Hi everybody. Action. Well, I don't hear myself.
Well, that's not an issue. They just need to hear me.
Oh, that's true.
Beautiful me.
Beautiful you. Okay. All right. Hi everybody. I'm glad you got to see that. Wait first. Go.
We did it.
We did it. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. This is the Filth Podcast. That's a very creative name for this particular thing. Anyways, I'm Max, and this is the lovely and talented Ben Foerg of the band The Absurd. Ben and I are friends from a while back. Yeah, I mean, something like that. And we were in a band together at one point. And Ben has been a naughty boy.
Naughty.
Apparently.
So very naughty.
Because all right, so we live in LA, hence the name of the channel, the Filth LA. Somebody else took the Filth. We were in a band called the Filth.
A fine band it was.
It was?
I miss those days.
Yeah. And since then, you've gone on to make something of a name for yourself in the club scene around here.
Yeah, buddy.
But you are also somebody who, for example, wears American flag T-shirts.
Oh my God!
And
didn't notice I left the house like this today.
Right, and have let's say become somewhat controversial in a time where it seems like in Los Angeles that there's not a whole lot of nuance allowed around the issue of Trump. It's like you sort of there is literally a I think it's safe to say that there are probably a lot of people having kind of more nuanced discussions about Donald Trump, be able to separate okay, this thing about his character is really is terrible. This thing he said is bad, but then hey, maybe that that trade policy is okay. Even stuff like that. We were out eating, and I think we were talking about Trump, and there were just people around us getting completely.
Yeah, well, you have to speak in very hushed voices when you talk about Trump or anything even close to it. I mean, exactly. Well, anybody and everybody will, at least in Los Angeles, they're very quick to take offense, which is the strangest thing. I get it. I understand it. And it's not like what I'm doing, and we'll talk about it more, I'm sure, but playing up the Trump thing, the America thing, it's not like I'm not doing it deliberately or anything, but it's kind of amazing how quick people are to trigger,
Sure.
And right, like you're saying, we go out to eat, half the time we're talking about Trump just kind of laughing at the fact that he exists, just
exactly,
just kind of making a mockery of the whole thing, like he's making a mockery of the political system in a certain sense,
and which is the thing we like about
exactly. Yeah, it makes him.
They deserve it.
That's so for years. Me and people like me, and I'm sure you to a degree, when I was in college and stuff, it was we gotta blow the system up. We just gotta to hell with it. And then a guy comes around who blows the system up, and everyone's like, oh my God, what's happening? It's like, Isn't this what you wanted? Isn't this?
Right.
And totally, it's what America deserves. You know.
Yeah. I mean, we both voted for the elderly
Yes.
Clinton lady.
Oh, Hill Dog.
What a joyous day that was.
Oh, yes.
I've never cast a vote. Actually, that was the first. I was too stoned in 2000. I would have voted for Obama both times, but I was too high to register to vote.
You just forgot
and
to
plus,
vote.
I was in a. Yeah, I mean, I was in a blue state.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a winner-take-all state in California, so I was just, I knew we were gonna go blue, so I was just like, nah. But then, so I voted. We both voted Bernie in the primaries.
Yep.
And then eventually, we're like, voted for Hillary. But I've never voted for somebody and resented them at the same time.
Yeah, well, I remember a discussion pretty distinctly after when it was pretty clear that Bernie wasn't going to take away the primary.
Right.
I was talking with my buddy's girlfriend, and she's like, well, okay, so when Bernie doesn't win, you're going to vote for Clinton, right? And I'm like, not a chance. That idea does not stand an Ice Cube's chance in hell, in my opinion. But... Right. Turns out it actually does,
right.
Because turns out I actually turned up voting for her. So
yeah. I think that was a lot of people at the last moment.
One of the most disappointing decisions I think I've ever made. I mean, you do kind of what you can, and we're in California, so it's not like our vote matters anyway.
Sure,
and that's kind of sad, but yeah, man. I mean, just playing with the like. Well, I'll let you ask the questions, but
no, go.
When we did a residency, my band did a residency at the Satellite, and it was all American flags and all this. My buddy summed it up well. He said, I didn't really think about it, but I walked in immediately and I had like a gut reaction to all the American flags and stuff. And then he said, well, what the hell am I really offended at? And that's kind of the point, is what everybody's offended at is, this guy who's so brash and just willing to say what the hell. I mean, he's a bullshitter for sure, and
everybody knows he's a bullshitter.
Yeah, he's almost honest because of that. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
Exactly. His lies. When I spoke to Jordan Peterson, I mean, he said this since then, but
yeah,
he said the problem with Hillary, somehow it came up, and then I said the problem is like Hillary Clinton's lies aren't even her lies.
Right. There's someone
like
else
they're like focus grouped. As to where you just see like Trump up there, and he's like, listen, I have the biggest crowd, and we all know he's full of shit.
Dude, he sent out some Twitter, by the way, funniest Twitter account ever, hands down, just insane rantings. It's like It makes zero sense. I can't even remember what he sent out today. It's like, I think Shapiro said like, yeah, he's bored or something. It must
turn
be
your body a little bit more this round. People should see your lovely face.
They want to see me. Makes sense. Well,
yes, yeah.
Hello, everybody.
yes.
Yeah, they. I'm gonna position this too.
Yeah,
we got
move that shit forward.
Freaking professional setup.
Yeah, we're pros, man.
All right, starting again from square one, and hey, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, Shapiro was just like, yeah, he must be bored or something like that, because today he sent out, the tweet was just like something about fake news, something about how he's a stable genius. And I love, if you ever pay attention to his Twitter, his capitalization is fucking hilarious. Like, he says, I'm a stable genius, and stable and genius are capitalized, but nothing else is. It's brilliant, man. The guy is so fucking funny, and like,
he's a troll.
He's like the biggest troll.
Yes.
And he's also kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's like it makes it hard to be afraid of him and give in to all the hype now.
Sure.
Because when he was running, dude, I was on board with like the Russia shit And I was like, man, this guy's going to be like Hitler and fascist. And then he wasn't.
Right.
And then everything was fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, what am I supposed to make of that? How am I supposed to think? Why would I give in to the people who say, oh my God, this is the worst thing to ever happen to the country? It's like, are you serious? One guy getting elected is the worst thing to ever happen to the country.
Right.
Really?
Right.
Really?
What was interesting for me, and one of the reasons that I'm like, I've always like tried to look at what everybody is saying, and I don't know if you remember this. There was a point where I never bought the Russia stuff.
Yeah, good for you.
And but the thing is that I was like, there was this atmosphere where, and it wasn't even like about being pro him, and I was still very much like, okay, there was that thing about, people who take Trump, seriously, but not literally, and people who take him literally, or don't take him seriously, but take him literally.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That whole deal. I was like, because I was looking at a lot of the,
it's that Budweiser. It's that American beer.
It is that American beer. It's appropriate. Yeah, I mean, everybody was talking about all the Russia stuff, and I don't remember even why. Like, I remember I would like check out Breitbart and all this stuff, all these sites that I hadn't checked out previously.
Yeah,
and for some reason, all of like their stories, like these weird like fringe outlets, all of their stuff, when I would go and like fact check it or like go and just kind of, dig deeper, their stuff all held up more than what I was seeing in the mainstream press.
Right. Well, I mean, that's
and that was just bizarre to me.
Yeah. Everybody talks about like, a red pill moment or whatever. And I've gone back and forth on the vernacular of,
I don't think I've ever been red. I've always been kind of consistent.
Well, but you didn't think the Russia stuff was anything, and I did. And at a certain point, I've always been, my whole life I've been, what do you call it? Like contrarian. So
me too,
I enjoy disagreeing and kind of fleshing it out and getting to the bottom of it,
Sure.
But with the Russia thing, for whatever reason, I've always been a news junkie too, and the sources that I knew were the mainstream sources. So then, like, I don't know, I just started to see through it, because at a certain point, like, yeah, exactly, you start looking for the real story, and because I started to get the sense that, like, I always knew CNN and MSNBC were BS, but I really hated Fox News. And there was like this documentary that came out called Outfoxed in like 2008.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's like,
that.
Yeah, it's like, that's everything that's wrong.
I used to hate Fox.
Exactly. And now they're like telling more truth than CNN and MSNBC.
Dude,
and like,
fucking Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
Is like, if you, that I used to just, I still don't like Sean Hannity.
Yeah, he's a pompous ass.
He was the guy who was right.
Yeah. Well, I think Fox News made an interesting pivot when CNN and MSNBC decided to pivot towards anti-Trump. Somebody was on, man, I don't remember who I was listening to, but he's like, yeah, MSNBC doesn't have a business plan past, when Trump is, out of office.
They're screwed.
Which is great, and it's a perfect analysis. Like, to me, I started looking up, like, things on, like, come closer. Oh, God.
Well, just keep your face pointed at the camera, sort of, and then we can gaze across at each other as well. But
all right, people, listen.
Okay,
I'm sick and tired of this guy's bullshit.
Okay.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, at a certain point, like, I just got the suspicion that we weren't getting the full story whatsoever. And then the Covington Catholic thing, and this actually the recent thing with Antifa and Andy No or whatever. I mean, there's just been so many stories where it's like, either they go completely unreported, or dude, there's just blatant lies. Like the Covington Catholic thing is like a perfect example. It's like this kid is with his Catholic school, and they go to some pro-life rally in D.C., and they're there, rah-rah, whatever, and then black Hebrew Israelites, I don't mean they're black Hebrew Israelites, I mean that's the name of the group, like, I guess they were black too, so whatever, but they come up and they
Black
start...
Israelites.
Yeah, right, they start yelling slurs at the kids, and the kids respond by singing their school chant.
And there's like the fat kid takes off his shirt,
right,
dancing around. They're
just being stupid. Like they're
stupid kids.
14 years old or whatever.
Right.
And then the Native American dude comes up and beats a drum in the face, and someone gets the perfect picture where the kid is kind of just like,
oh, look at the white privilege.
Yeah, and everyone's like, isn't that the most punchable face? It's like, hold on a second, media. The kid is 14 years old.
Right.
He's 14 years old.
I had a professor.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, this is the thing is there's been this really strange thing that's happened where one of my professors who will remain unnamed who I actually is a one of the foremost film scholars, or like he's written biographies on some of the biggest people. I read one of his books when I was a kid, and I saw him posting on Facebook the most disgusting things about this guy. It says if they're talking about dehumanizing people, and yet, at least in my timeline, as somebody in California who has always lived in like very, very, or at least in my adult life has lived in very liberal cities, so like San Francisco and now here, and I've lived in Santa Barbara and like whatever. But it was weird to see the extent to which there's like this dehumanization, and also the degree to which individuals who are talking about like hateful rhetoric and all this stuff seem to be the people I see like spewing a lot of it.
Yeah.
And just kind of like dehumanizing people and whatnot. And the thing is, this is the tidbit that I think is interesting is I think the media landscape has changed significantly in the last 10 or so years for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously since the introduction of social media. So and again, I'm not an expert, but the funny thing is like there is most likely more truth in my random analysis by based
musings?
on my musings than there is in like some mainstream fucking publications.
Right.
Anyways, we used to have like a lot of like little newspapers, right? And then like all the different, cities, they'd have their newspapers and stuff like that. And they would all report and the community would all buy those newspapers, right?
Yeah.
And that would keep it going. Once social media and the internet comes in, we start getting things for free, which means that it has to move to a more advertiser based model.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so a lot of local newspapers completely disappear.
You know what's so fucking weird though is I don't feel like advertisers just follow the money, don't they? Like why? So what's weird is like, okay, so when you have someone like the most recent Nike Betsy Ross,
which doesn't make any sense. Stupidest thing. That dude doesn't even know what the Betsy Ross flag
no,
is.
It has nothing. It's a Revolutionary War flag, dude.
Yeah.
It helped institute the country that freed the goddamn slaves. Like, so anyway, like in Nike's position, like the pivot that they did, it actually helped their sales. Their sales have gone up. So it's like, okay, you're just following the money. That makes sense to me in my worldview. What I don't understand is when you have like the Carlos Maza thing, you know, with Crowder and the rest of the conservatives. You have all these people trying to shut down the conservatives, but it's like, I don't think, you know, basically you have people like Carlos Maza saying to advertisers like, well, you got to stop advertising on, you know, their channels because they espouse these views. It's like, short of really horrible views, which people like Crowder do not espouse,
right?
Advertisers don't care, I don't think. You know, it's like
they care about their reputation.
Well, but they just cave to pressure though if enough people get angry. But if it's just if it was just me going on Twitter with my however many followers, I don't even use Twitter, and I went on there and
million.
I said, I went on and said, you know, you have to get rid of Crowder. He's so mean. No one would care.
Right.
The thing is, though, Carlos Maza's from Vox, and they're backed by a bunch of money from, what is it, NBC or something?
NBC Universal, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's I think owned by, it's not Viacom, it's Comcast?
Yeah, something
Comcast,
AT&T,
right. Whatever these things. Yeah, but I mean,
one of our Jeffrey Epstein-esque corporate overlords, I'm sure.
Exactly. So this is the interesting shift, and it's one of the reasons why I'm trying to, when I get obsessed with something, I get really obsessed with it. Okay. So I've been like looking into like, what is going on? Because right around the time, I remember even 5 years ago, where I would go to get news is the Huffington Post. That really, like that's where I would get it.
And you weren't into the Russia thing. I was into the Russia thing, and I never did Huffington Post.
Right. No. I was a Huffington Post guy. There was one app on my phone. It was HuffPost.
Huffington Post.
Ariana Huffington left the Huffington Post.
Yeah, right.
And AOL Time Warner bought it, and then it.
When did that happen? Do you know?
This is right. This is maybe late 2015, early 2016. This is when. Like running up to the election. Yeah. So I used to get like alerts from them, and it was very like news, you know, up until then. Like it was a left wing paper.
Yeah.
But it was publication. But it was like they were still trying to like get at the truth, and AOL Time Warner takes it over, and now they're just like, well, we just have to maximize
narrative
profits.
Yep.
Profits. So the thing is like to like enrage people. So I actually think that a lot of the identity politics stuff, or like the like kind of rage bait you know, things that were happening at that time and are still happening, although I think people have gotten a little bit better about it, was largely that we have now you know, every single source that was at one point the place where people would go to find the truth, or at least get what seemed like reasonably unbiased reporting, or if it was, you know, even if it was something like the Huffington Post, it was the truth still came, you know, first. Like you can't be. I don't think you can be unbiased.
Right.
I don't think that's a thing.
No, I agree.
But you can still try to you know, stick to the facts as best as you can. And all of these publications are now owned by these massive corporations.
Yeah.
So whether it's Vox and the Huffington, so all of these like woke, like there's supposed to be these like super like liberal places for journalism, and they're not. I mean, and all of these people are they're using the language, as I see it, they're using the language of the left in order to justify doing all kinds of things that, if you look into them, are so not left as you and I would have known them. So it's like all this stuff on YouTube. Like most people want nothing to do with white nationalism. They want nothing to do with white supremacy.
Try putting up a video called "Build the Wall."
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But like, it's weird. There's like it's gotten to.
I don't even want a wall. I want a moat.
A moat?
A big moat.
A moat would, moat's like less.
Big flowing moat.
Yeah, you can do that. You can
with
do
like
a moat.
guardians on both sides.
Right.
If that doesn't detract from your train of thought.
Yeah.
What's up, Zach? What's happening? You want to talk about Trump? Yeah, suit yourself.
That's Zach.
No, I mean it's funny, man. I think it's simultaneously becoming easier and more difficult to talk about, politics and stuff like that, because there's a growing number of people like us who are just kind of past it. It's not even, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. I'm just concerned about, like, can you talk to me or not? The weirdest thing is that people can't talk to one another. I don't understand that whatsoever.
I think we're actually speaking different languages.
There's evidence to like a divide that's that stark, but what's, and there, you know what, too, with the language, the woke language that you're talking about,
because it means different things.
Well, also like you remember before we got on this very professional broadcast, we were talking about how I was like, I had like a red pill moment or whatever, which wasn't an explicit moment or anything, but it's there was a moment. It's that language. That language exists kind of on the right, although that doesn't feel as partisan to me as saying something like woke or.
Well, it's woke is like, it's almost like a religious.
It is totally religious at this point. Yeah, I mean that's just obvious. Well, that's the thing is, like, it's not splitting along partisan lines, really. We're not really talking about liberal versus conservative. We're talking about fanatics versus not fanatics. However you want to. These people,
and there are woke people, and this is an important distinction that I need to make. There are like moderate woke people.
Well, okay, so when you were talking about bias in like journalism and stuff like that, you for sure can never get rid of bias, and that's why I'm a fan of somebody like Hunter S. Thompson. It's also why, like, look, I listen to Ben Shapiro like every day. I'm not a conservative,
right.
But I listen to him because straight up he's like, I'm a conservative. I'm an Orthodox Jew. Exactly where he's coming from.
Sure.
And thus you can kind of, separate his opinion from what's actually the facts. And also he has a pretty solid commitment to the truth. And if he gets something wrong, no one's perfect, but at least he'll come out and say, all right, here's a list of all the things I did wrong. I really appreciate that.
Sure.
He's actually pointed out Pod Save America, which I personally find unlistenable, but at least they, during their broadcast, say, look, we're Obama aides. We worked for the election. That's who we are.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you're not pulling any punches. You're not trying to convince me that like Rachel Maddow is just like, I'm an objective. It's like, dude, number one, even if you were trying to say you're Walter Cronkite said, didn't he say something about how, I don't know if you can be a journalist and not be liberal or something like that? Was that him?
Well, yeah. But I mean, I see again, I think that paradigm is dead. Like the liberal conservative thing, it doesn't really make sense.
No, that's what, whenever people say, well, you're like I was telling you, I had a friend who was like, well, you're on like the right? I'm like, no.
I was like, I don't want to shut down everybody that like says things I don't like.
It's not.
I don't want to throw milkshakes with cement.
Right. It's not a
faces.
Man. It's not a exactly. It's
whatever
not
the
a
fuck it was.
Well, that's why whenever like I've identified as libertarian for the last I don't even know how long, and only because I don't know what liberal and conservative mean, but I do know what authoritarian and libertarian means.
Yes.
And I'm in complete opposition to authoritarianism.
Sure.
So, okay, libertarian, that makes sense. But libertarian comes along with some pretty dirty connotations. So when I say that, people ask for clarification, and it's just like, well, look, I can't really speak to the left-right thing right now because I don't understand the meaning of that spectrum. You know, it doesn't. I don't know where it's like the woke people. Let's say the
fundamentalist woke.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
the authoritarian.
Right.
Left.
So people have a tendency to be like, okay, well, they're way to the left. It's like, not necessarily. They're to the left, but then they're up to the authoritarianism direction. And that's what people don't get is when people say, okay, libertarian, what does that mean? It's like, well, you got the left. Well, you got the left and the right, and then you got authoritarian, libertarian.
Right.
I'm just saying I'm down here. I'm not really speaking to where I am.
Right. Well, so like I would say like someone like a Noam Chomsky is sort of like left libertarian. So well, I mean,
a weird guy.
I think he's delusional. I love Noam Chomsky. But like
he's got the most boring voice in all of
he's also brilliant.
History. Yeah, he is brilliant.
He's brilliant. The man's brilliant because like a lot of things about like corporate power and all.
Nice shirt.
Yeah,
I said nice shirt. It kind of looks like skin.
No, but he anarcho-socialism.
Yeah.
See, to me, that's his religion.
What
that could
God's
be a thing.
name does that mean?
It's essentially that there's no state overseeing. There's nobody to keep everybody in line, right? Or to law, but yet somehow everybody's principles and values are such that they voluntarily act as socialists. I mean, it's
well, okay. So that's just anarchism, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
it
is anarchism.
Yeah.
It is anarchism. I mean, I'm not an expert on Noam Chomsky. I've read a few of his books. I've listened to him speak at length. I've learned a lot about.
I know more about his linguistics work than his political work.
His
really.
Linguistics work, I know very little about, other than to know that it's like brilliant.
I had to study some of it.
Oh well,
they forced me.
Well, like the idea of like manufactured consent. Okay, see, here's the thing. Okay, Chomsky's useful here. Okay, these are the kind of leftists I like. What I would identify with, anarcho-socialism aside, him like believing that there's no such thing as human nature,
the state and all that. Yeah.
Well, it's. I just think that because he. Everybody seems to have this place where they're taking things on faith. And I think that what he takes on faith is that there is that human nature is like malleable, like to the point where you could have a practically socialist society without like the boot of this state, which is ridiculous. But I don't want to get caught up on that. Okay, the idea of manufactured consent, so that this is where the proper, as I would call it, proper leftism. And by the way, he never bought the Russia thing either. That was always Glenn Greenwald at The Intercept.
Yeah.
The only people who didn't do it, and I was like, thank God, was The Intercept, who were the people who dumped all the NSA stuff.
Right.
And Noam Chomsky. So I was like, okay, at least I'm in good company on that. I'll take that.
Right.
Okay. And the thing was that he's talked a lot about corporate power, right, and money in politics, and the way that we profit from, or certainly Washington, the federal government, can profit from war.
Oh yeah,
and how much America's foreign policy has,
which by the way, I am all for that kind of, like, that's what I grew up like listening to and thinking about, how the military industrial complex is disgusting. I mean, corporations are disgusting. The way that our system works is disgusting and revolting in a lot of ways. What's weird though is that in some way there's been a perversion of that brand of leftism.
But
you know
that's
what I mean?
but that's what I was that's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
It's like
I was reading your mind, so I
you were. Of
finished
course.
the thought for you.
I'm saying that right now the people that are pushing the woke stuff, which conveniently this is a key point. It conveniently leaves out class,
which is weird.
Well, to me, that is the key to the whole thing.
I mean, it kind of makes who was it that started introducing this thought really recently? Some name.
Me.
You well, besides Max Fisher.
Yeah. But like, okay, so we talk about corporate power.
I should leave some room for originality. I'm always like, who said that?
Who said? Yeah. Well. If you think about it, like, so all of the left wing outlets are owned by gigantic corporations.
Yeah.
Do you think the corporations are going to
yes, it's party time. Yeah. Party time, ladies and gentlemen.
We're having a party here later. Sorry, guys. Okay.
I think the party might be now.
It might be right now, but okay. I just to finish this thought, and then we'll get on to everything that's happening with the absurd. So, to me, there was never a more clear a clear example of manufacturing consent as what happened with Hillary Clinton in 2016. The way that all of it, see, the people that are pushing the most woke politics and using the language of the left are entities that are owned by gigantic multinational corporations.
Yeah, right.
And all of the people that are being called fascists and white supremacists and far right and all this sort of stuff, using the language of the left, like, against itself in order to shut people down or to advocate for violence and all this all this stuff. It's all coming from left-wing sources, because how else in the United States could you get people to start engaging in political violence and so on than couching it in the language of the left? And
well, are you saying it's a conspiracy to get people engaged in political violence? Or?
I wouldn't put it that. I don't think it necessarily works that cleanly. Yeah, Ian, can you close that? Yeah, you go use the other door, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these.
We're almost done.
Difficulties.
After these difficulties. Okay, so I mean, if you think about it, like, how else could you get? I don't think it's a conspiracy like that. I think this is what I see happening. The economy is more and more globalized. It's like an internationalist economy, and all of the multinational corporations that have now bought up all of the traditional media and are now trying to shut down independent voices who are just trying to tell the truth. And some of them are wackos, and some of them don't have good, fact checkers or whatever it is. But one thing it is actually people saying what they believe to be true and sifting through the evidence, because there's so much stuff that doesn't hold any water.
Well, it's yeah, sorry.
And I think that one of the things that they don't like is that if all of a sudden the United States becomes more protectionist or whatever it is, and we're making more stuff here, that hurts a lot of people's bottom line.
Yeah.
And so I think that you have to gin up all this racial animus and get people divided so that they go at each other and have these. It's almost we have these phantom views of one another. So I'm gonna stop with all of that because we don't have too much more time.
Well, it's let me make a
go
comment.
ahead.
Yeah, just it's what's been really difficult for me is figuring out what the source of the divide is, because the divide seems so silly to me. It's
phantom divide.
Right, exactly. It's like there's strings being pulled by nothing and nobody, and it's really such a strange phenomenon, because like I get why people on the left don't like, the whole the left, whatever, the woke scolds or whatever. I get why those people don't like when conservatives are like, everything's great, what are you complaining about? Because that's like the worst possible thing to hear. Like, if you've ever been depressed or known somebody who is, whenever they're just like, dude, life's fine, just smile. It's like, yeah, that helped. Well, that's what I was forgetting the whole time. But on the other hand, that is a less ridiculous claim, because of how good things are right now, than the people on the left that we're talking about saying that everything sucks, everything is racist, everything is bigoted, the system is rigged against everybody who's ever been marginalized in some... It's like the most obvious bullshit in the world, because it's like the marginalized groups, and I'm not saying that there aren't people who aren't marginalized. There are obviously marginalized groups. There are people who've been historically mistreated. There are people for whom life is just harder than it is for me.
But would the voice of those people likely to be coming through the pipes of these gigantic multi-million-dollar corporations, or is that being used as a front by you put somebody who happens to have a certain background or a certain color of skin and have them say these things and call people racist? It's using the civil rights movement and appropriating its good name and using it to shut down people who are just trying to point out...
That's the most bizarre thing in the world to me. I mean, I think there's probably historically always been an impetus for the powerful to crush the weak. I mean, it just... And knowledge is power, and, information is power. And so even if there are these... man, there was like a golden age of YouTube. You remember when there were no ads on YouTube? You remember that?
The Wild West.
Fuck, that was awesome. That was like the coolest thing ever. You could just, not only would you get all these dumb Numa videos and whatnot, but you would get these like total whack jobs just from the far reaches of the internet who were just like, I think they're trying to put, tracking devices in our toothpaste. It's like, okay, all right, like, that's one theory. Like,
there's that.
Okay, maybe I'll weigh that against some other sources. Like, but like, it's kind of they have. I mean, man, it just, when people on the platform that's trying to censor people are saying that the platform is trying to censor people. You haven't, like, it's like you're not even managing your own crisis effectively as a platform, because the platform in a sense is bigger than the people who run it, so the people whose voices they keep trying to get rid of, like, it's bizarre to me, man. I mean, again, unless you're advocating violence or something disgusting, right. Just let the freaks say whatever the hell they want to say.
Right. But it's too scary. It's too scary to people. I have And my channel was recently remonetized. Thank you very much.
Look
I've
at
been
that.
remonetized.
Look at that. Well,
after
rich man over here.
Rich man.
Didn't know I was sitting next to royalty. I'm the richest man.
I made like $10 in the past week, bro.
That's great.
Hey.
Oh, well, that could be an issue.
Yeah, I could. 1 second.
At least the audio's going. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these difficulties also. And boom.
Okay.
Just in time to talk about the music video.
Yeah. All right. Now we have to talk about what happened. So I don't know what we just went off on a tangent. And there's much more
usable stuff.
Definitely
makes me want to talk for hours.
It does, but now I promised them that we'd go and whatever the first hour. Okay, we got about 10 minutes, and then I told them I'd get out of here. So tell everybody what happened with the music video, or what's happened in terms of the way you are viewed.
Oh yeah.
Just go.
Yeah. Okay. Can I get a beer for this?
You can get a beer for this.
All right. Excellent.
We're drinking American beer. It's just
America's beer.
It's not even American beer anymore. It's Belgian.
Yeah, it's like Germany or Belgium or whatever. You know,
Belgian. It's
my favorite thing was when they shifted the label to America. Do you remember that? It just said America. Yeah, that's pretty good. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Okay.
So, like, you know, last year or whatever, in the band, I don't know, I'm just a socially conscious person, so the lyrics started to be imbued with what I was thinking about, which is not necessarily politics, for the record. It's more culture, social, whatever. So the album we released last year is called Build the Wall. And, we're a rock band in LA.
You're asking for it.
You're asking for it, We're a rock band in LA, so it's like,
I would never do that. Go ahead.
As a consumer, my thought was, think for 1 second. I play rock music in Los Angeles. Do you think I'm serious or no? Like,
well, your band's called The Absurd.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is sort of a giveaway. But anyway, so we released that album. We got the song, Build the Wall itself, debuted on Buzz Bands with Kevin Bronson, which was great. He said, and we didn't tell him what to say or anything, he looked at the lyrics and said, it seems pretty anti-fascist, anti-Trump. You can find that review anywhere. So then we agreed, or Kyle Newacek, the director of, one of the co-creators of Workaholics, had seen our band a while ago and has always been really awesome to us, frankly. Reached out and said, okay, do you want to do this performance thing? It's on Fade TV from Wonk Studios. It's his production studio. Basically, he has a sandbox, and we got to go play in it, and it was awesome. But he said, well, this thing really works well if you have like a music video to debut or something like that. So I said, all right, let's get a music video together. We've been meaning to do that anyway. So we made a music video for our song Build the Wall. And we premiered it. As I'm driving up there, I send him the Pabst Blue Ribbons. Oh, thank God. That's
almost done, Wes.
That's Wes, ladies and gentlemen. He is nothing if not a mensch.
He is indeed.
But so as I'm driving up there, I send the video. We sent it way late because we finished it way late because it's all doing it ourselves, and we're schlubs. And I get an email that just says, "What's your number?" And I'm like, "All right." So in the back of my head, I'm like, he's gonna object to something about the content, And he gives me a call, and he's like, and it's the head of the production studio. I can't remember. It's like TK or something. And he's like, "Yeah, man. So, hey, look, I'm really, pleasantly surprised with the music video." And I'm like, "Thanks.
Good.
Where's the butt? Is what." And he's like, "But I did my research. Like, you guys played like Gay Pride in Long Beach." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Right. So you guys are like pro-gay and pro-immigrant, right?" And I'm like, "Sure." By the way, what does that question mean?
Yeah,
does that mean I'm anti-straight and anti-not immigrant if I'm pro those things? Like, are you? Anyway, so I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, yeah. So just, I can kind of picture him doing like, he's like, I just want to make sure this is like a satire, right? And I'm like, you basically, and he's like, okay, cool. Because it seems to me like this is like the perfect video for you guys. Because your message is pretty much like, let's put these hang-ups aside, these political and social hang-ups, and then just get together and party, which is exactly what the video is.
Sure.
And pretty much exactly, I don't think, I wouldn't want to be in a band with a message. I wouldn't want to be in a political band, I'm fine with talking about politics, but I'm not trying to carry an ideology. But if we had a message, that's really close. Just put it all aside.
Rock and roll.
Let's fucking have a good time. Exactly. Like, we're a rock band. Like, and he nailed it. I didn't even think about that. And he's like, yeah, man, okay. So just letting you know, there's like a chance that like, we might cut away before your music video premieres from the live stream. And I'm like, that would be disappointing, or whatever,
Why we're here?
Because they were going to live cast it on their stream, which has like 20K. subscribers, and then ours, which has like, you know, I think my mom
Less.
subscribes to it. Less. And I was like, nah, man, you know, Kyle told us that we should do a music video for this, like specifically for this occasion, and like it'd be really great to, you know. So he kind of waffles a little bit and then says, you know, okay, no, I'm getting word from the team. And I'm like, all right, Kyle's talking to you apparently. And, you know, he runs the whole studio. And he's like, okay, we'll do it. I'm like, great. And then we go, and it's like a little, it's cool. Like, they're super nice, you know. Kyle himself is very nice to us. Fine, we finish, we do the performance, the music video airs, it's all live, and then as we're leaving, one of the guys like, you know, you guys will be able to search it or whatever, and you know, I'm like, okay, I kind of assumed that would be the case, so what an odd thing to say, you know. And then that night and the next day, we look for it and the video's not there anymore, and so I send a, you know, message to them, and they go, well, you know, your band is great. We love your band. You guys are a really good band. Like, really, really good. Yeah. But, you know, we're trying to court sponsors right now. And, like, we understand your brand. But, you know, and I'm just kind of like, okay.
I actually think that's kind of fair.
Totally valid.
Yeah.
Totally valid, except for the fact that you said you were going to premiere my video, and as I was leaving, you said it would be there.
That's true.
That's my entire issue.
Well, you just said that they said you should make a video specifically to premiere it there?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Well, he said, so Kyle, when we were talking about doing it, you know, and I, like, Kyle Newacek he just directed that Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston movie. He's got a million things going on all the time.
Right.
I think he lives in the clouds, you know, like,
sure.
They're just stoner dudes, and so am I, and that's fine, you know, like, I'm not hiding the ball on this one, you know. It doesn't bother me none. Who the hell is this person?
That is my father.
Thinks they can just call, and I'm going to keep talking, and we'll just have the video go out, and then he'll come back, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, we're back.
Okay.
So, Kyle,
We gotta wrap it up.
yeah, Kyle is just he's a good dude, and whatever, and okay, so, anyway, he tells us we should do a video, and, you know, again, like, we did it, and I get it, we got it to him late, and it's for a song called Build the Wall, but, like, it's a fucking satire, man. Like, if you see the music video, it's just a party. That's all it is.
Yeah.
My dad described it as sophomoric. He's like, I think you could have said something a little bit better with that video. And, like, fine. So my entire, like, yes, it is totally understandable to pull it, you know, for that reason, if you're courting sponsors. But don't tell me that you're not gonna then. Why, just be straight, man. Like, you know, if you're not gonna do it, we'll find somewhere else to. Like, we got so many new likes and follows from just the live performance that I'm like, man, if we got left on the channel, we would have gotten a way more, just tons. Like,
right.
I mean, he's got such a reach, you know. So I ask as a professional courtesy, I'm like, hey, man, all right, fine. You know, I'm not gonna argue with the dude.
Right.
But I'm like, hey, as a professional courtesy, can you tell me what it was about the performance or the video that is no good, you know? And he says, like, his first paragraph is like, your song is called Build the Wall, plain and simple. You know, it's like...
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
I get it, but it's stupid.
And what, you have a record label called Fake News Records.
Fake News Records.
What, like...
The news is fake, but the music ain't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, that's the thing. Where even... There's nothing objectionable in the video.
No.
At all.
Other than a guy takes acid.
Yeah, and there's more in terms of the way that you use a lot of American flags, all of which are being, like, desecrated in some way.
Yeah, we actually looked up a list of all the laws that we can break with American flags. I think we broke all of them. Yeah,
right, except for burning it.
Right, we didn't burn it. Yeah,
which I wouldn't burn it.
We didn't burn
I think you should be able to burn the flag, by the way.
Absolutely.
But I have no plan of doing that. Yeah. But that's really the thing. My dad says your voicemail is full. Call me. Okay.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. This is my dad's call. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the thing. Is like, look, when has art or anybody who's trying to say anything interesting, when has there not been pushback?
Right.
I mean, when has anybody who's ever said anything interesting not had people be pushing back? And I think it is so weird that people think that being part of the resistance is to listen to the people that are on TV and listen to, all of these outlets that are owned by major corporations and stuff like that. Don't listen to those scary people on YouTube. Those scary far right people. And there are jackasses. There are plenty of jackasses on YouTube. And you should not look at those people as news sources.
Being a jackass isn't a crime.
It is not a crime.
And
there are people who are not jackasses, like Tim Pool.
Yeah,
that guy is not a jackass.
That guy rules.
He does.
Tim Pool is, by the way, more hippie than I would usually be down with.
Right.
Except for he's awesome.
Yeah, no, he's awesome.
But you know what? You know what's something really funny is
all right.
That's insane, dude. I mean, that's insane. But what's really funny is the director, Greg Gilman, from a band called Greg and Good Company.
Yes.
He was talking with Kyle, and Kyle did Workaholics, and it's like, watch Workaholics. It doesn't have political content, but it's not like the content is family friendly. I mean, the whole show is a group of bums and their drug dealer.
No, it's fantastic.
So
I like that show.
It's a hilarious show. I love that. I grew up watching it.
I know nothing about
when Kyle reached out to us and was like, "You want to do it?" I'm like, "Oh my god, hell yeah, man!"
A great show.
So Greg was talking to Kyle, and Kyle was telling Greg, it's a shame to work in comedy these days because you can't make jokes anymore. It's like, well, yeah, because you and assholes like you are fucking it up.
Right.
You're telling me I can't put out a song called "Build the Wall" that's an obvious satire?
Yeah.
Whose lyrics are basically completely the opposite of what you think they are.
Right. Well, here's the thing: is that this moment in time, everybody look. My thing is, I'm for you as well, is examining intentions. All I can do in this moment, all anybody can do, is say what I'm seeing and what I think is true.
Right.
And point out to people or reframe things. Those Budweiser.
It's the king of beers. It's the king of beers.
Yeah. All I can do is I look at all of the people that have inspired me over the years, and right now I what I see is things changing in such a way to where that there are institutions that are trying to hold on to power that at one point were institutions that I was very much in line with. And I still read the New York Times. I mean, I still check out all that stuff. I still think New York Times is wonderfully written, and I like Washington Post a little bit more, but that's another story. But
I'm a Vox guy.
Yeah, clearly.
Just Vox.
And see, that's the thing.
That's my diet.
There's Vox. There's all these left-wing people trying to shut down speech and saying, well, look, Carlos Maza, he is gay, and he is Mexican. Therefore,
he's gay,
he
Mexican,
right.
and angry. So we should listen. It's when did the
So
hell? Did
you're
that
allowed
become a
to. You're allowed.
qualification?
Exactly. They're trying to make. Look, this is the key point. If somebody tells you don't listen to these people, for God's sake, listen to them.
Yeah, right.
Ideas like, there are some people who it's like, I don't want to. Well, why would I listen to fascists and white supremacists? It's like, you know what? That I can understand.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. The right now, those words are being used in such a way, as I see it, as to get people who would, if they were willing to go into these things with an open mind, would see that it has like nothing to do with that. And don't get me wrong, there are like the Richard Spencers of the world. They're out there, and if you want to call him
Who's
a
that
Nazi
dude from,
and a fascist,
what was it, the Daily Stormer guy?
oh well, no, we don't even need to say
fucking crazy people.
Okay,
Yeah.
so clearly these people are out there.
Yeah.
Okay, and when I've heard Spencer on live streams, I'm now comfortable calling that dude fascist. That's fine. He
is beyond the scope of normal acceptable conversation.
He's
just like you listen. He's some guy was like, so what do you propose for like moving the minorities to? He's like, well, we could take a state like Florida and put them. It would be nonviolent though. They would go of their own choice. It's like, yeah, God, totally, dude. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that would make the country
You know what,
better.
too, though? I don't even... There are definitely people who consciously want to squash free speech and stuff like that.
Right.
Kyle Newacek and his studio are not them.
No, it's not. It's not.
But
most of the
they're
people.
responding... Exactly. So many people are responding to the pressures in the wrong way, which is just like, dude, you're making it harder. And it is... Are you a George Carlin fan?
Yes.
You know his thing. These are just words. It's not the words. It's what the words mean. You know, he famously has said the worst words that you can say.
Sure.
On stage, and he's gotten arrested for it too. And the thing is, it's all about context and meaning. So the email that I got from them was, well, your song is called "Build the Wall," and it's like, yes, and they're like, yeah, that's a phrase used by racists. I mean, this email went on for like paragraphs, and I was like, okay, and it all just said nothing. Basically, they ended up calling us racists, and, you know, that's about it.
You and Nancy Pelosi.
Me and Nancy Pelosi, according to AOC, anyway. Dumbest politician to
But
ever.
the same you say, I'm not going to call her dumb.
You
I
know,
think she seems like a
nice lady.
misguided
She's
young
hot.
woman. She is hot.
Yeah, but
I like that. I saw her dancing at BU in that video.
Dancing
I was like,
great.
I can't.
You can't look away.
I'm not.
It's great.
I'm not objective.
It's pleasant
anymore.
Yeah. No.
I think I would.
But they don't. It's not. It's literally about.
I like AOC in the weird way. Go ahead.
You know, it's literally about the.
She also pisses me off.
It's about the words. That's what I don't like. Is like there's this term you can't use because it's offensive. It's like, okay, but it's like what's his face? Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin,
sure,
who got in trouble for using a word on YouTube. And he was using it to disparage the people who use it in earnest. Right. And he got in trouble for that. It's like, dude, it's not the word. It's the context. It's the meaning.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
I'm using the phrase "build the wall" as a joke.
Yeah, like, it is exactly. And he's right. So this is we have to go because there's going to be a party here. It's a thing.
We're gonna party it up.
Yeah, I'm not.
And down.
But this is the thing. I want, if you're watching, just ask yourself this. In the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, whatever it was, think of all the good stuff. Like now I've never gone against the grain for its own sake.
We differ on that one. I've gone against the grain for its own, just because I'm an asshole.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That's it.
It's mildly different. Well, some people think I'm an asshole. But,
yeah.
But the thing is right now I just want to reframe things just a little bit, and just consider, if you don't already know this, or if you're having conversations with people, this is not a left-right thing. This is, as far as I see it, realize that there are small publications that are, like Quillette or whatever, that are these teeny publications that are just trying to say what they think is true, and then you have all of these legacy publications that the incentive structure, it doesn't even mean that the people that work there are bad. I don't think that's the way things work. It doesn't mean that Los Angeles, by the way, Los Angeles, for all those people, if you're watching in the middle of the country, in the Midwest, in the South, anywhere,
shout out to you. That's where I'm from.
Yeah, he's from Detroit. Okay, a lot of Michiganders out here.
Ah,
My mom was born in Michigan.
it's fucking warm, man. It's cold.
I'm a
there.
California boy, born and bred, but Northern California. But what I would say is, keep an open mind, and realize that your fellow Americans are your fellow Americans. Like, really, we agree so much. We've gone across this country.
Yeah.
In this country, like, regardless of your background or anything, I think there's this like real like core of stuff that's still there, and I feel like whether it's intentional or not, we're being put in a situation where we're being pitted against each other.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's
Right.
it feels like it's disintegrating. That's for sure. But that doesn't mean that it necessarily is. I mean,
It doesn't.
To me,
It doesn't.
I've for sure earned a reputation in Los Angeles, especially in the music scene, as being sort of counterculture, iconoclast, sort of that. And that's fine. But you know what I still find is everywhere I go across the country and everybody I talk to, I get along with them more than I don't, because the things that divide us are minimal compared to the things that unite us. So it's like, not to be the things that divide us sound like a total politician.
Now is the time to embrace. Look, this is my thing. Now's the time to embrace the hippie shit.
Yeah, totally. I'm on board with it.
I'm for unity, folks. I don't give a shit where you're from, what your political leanings are. First, I want you to know that wherever you are out there in the United States,
unless you wear Betsy Ross Nike sneakers,
that's a deal breaker. We're not leaving you behind.
Right.
I'm serious. I'm serious. So we're not leaving you behind. Most people don't look down on you. We're all citizens. We're all part of this big thing, and these attempts to divide us, I think, are going to fail. And I think that starts with just standing up and saying what you think is true. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Speak your mind, and you don't have to do it.
And you'll find out that there's a lot of people who probably are thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
They're
not
just
only
scared.
Most people are really scared, and for good reason too. Because look, it's crazy. I know people who have gotten fired from corporate jobs for saying very, very mild milquetoast things. I know. Look, this video that we produced as the absurd, like, frankly, what it would have gotten banned for in the 60s would have been illicit drug use and unnecessary partying, and that's kind of what I thought might be offensive about it. But no, it's all the American flags,
bro.
And but yeah, speak your mind, because like, why else be alive? I just don't get I don't. Yeah. And even if we disagree, it's like, that's the weirdest thing, man. It's like, if we disagree, great.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna probably try to help you if you're in need. Like, you're just. It's like you're against gay marriage. Okay, I'm pro gay marriage. But like, if you're stuck in a burning building and I'm the only person who can help you, I'm still going to help you.
Yeah.
It's as if people don't. They're forgetting those values. Yeah, and that's why I'm totally on board with the hippie.
Yes. So sorry, that's why America
and
the rest of the world, China. I love China. I love like oh, it's not they're just scared. They're our enemies and stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't. Well, listen.
China. I love China. China's a great country.
China.
They're one of the best countries. But look, they aren't reducing the carbon emissions.
Look. Here's the thing. There are a lot of things to balance. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can understand that there are...
Maybe you can.
Well, okay. All right, I'm special.
You know what's weird? Why is Kansas pronounced Kansas, but Arkansas is pronounced Arkansas?
That will be the next episode. But okay. That's enough for that. But I'm saying that like it's okay. It is not just like we can have nuanced opinions. You can have nuanced opinions, and you can. And I would encourage everybody to just try to listen to everybody. Just try to listen to everybody. I understand that the way that things are characterized online, it's just like this, like stark on the left and the right, and everybody's going crazy in Los Angeles, and they're all racist in the middle of the country. Dog shit. Yeah. It's dog shit. All right. Okay. It's noise. It's noise, and it has to go. People are gonna get mad if I don't get off now. So
bye.
Bye. Okay. The absurd. I will put a link to the video in the thing. Yeah. You should watch this dude's video. Yeah. You should listen to the band, and I'm sure we'll do this again soon. We might live stream during the Mueller testimony.
Man, that'd be so much fun. I cannot wait to see what he has to say about nothing or something. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Watch the video.
We'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how this is received. But I want to do it anyways.
Yeah, sounds
okay.
Fun.
Everybody, that was the end.
Cheers.
Say bye to everybody.
Bye.
Harold's cheers, but America.
Oh man, the best beer and the king of beers.
Okay, all right. Bye, everyone.
Cool.